informing the other. Both of these projects convene around students' mental health, particularly post-pandemic design intervention. We designed a space to improve mental health and well-being on campus, and we will be presenting the process we undertook to do that. Before I go on, let me introduce the members of the team, one of whom is with us today. Abimbola Asojo is presenting with me. Another person who is a part of the team but who is not presenting is Catherine Squires, and another person, Carolyn Fritz. Students' mental health, again, is the focus of these two research projects. We use community engagement strategies. This research was done by women for women students. We, in the first project, Project One, we explored BIPOC student stress, and the findings resulted in the creation of a rejuvenation room. The second project was informed by the first project. In that project, we assessed students' experience of the rejuvenation room, especially in the time of COVID-19. Project One included 4 storytelling workshops. We used a research question: what is the experience of women students of color at a predominantly white university? We received funding from the University Office of Community Engagement. The project was led by an interdisciplinary, intergenerational team of BIPOC faculty and students. We collected data via different storytelling methods. We also included in the storytelling workshop various interventions as healing activities, and they were held on all 4 campuses of the university. The first workshop was held by Professor Ananya Chatterjee and Lena Pass. I always have a problem pronouncing her name, is Palosi. Excuse me, Lena, for butchering your name. It was on the West Bank campus, and it focuses on healing movement, exercise, discussion, and dance. The second one was led by Professor Jinda Desai and Catherine Squires on the East Bank campus. This focused on poetry, spoken word exercise. We shared an intergenerational, with an intergenerational group, we shared a meal. The third and fourth workshops, the third was held by Professor Roli Diwali and Madhura Shore at the Community University Health Center, which we call COOC here, and it focuses on health and healing. The fourth was led by yours truly, myself and Dr. Asojo on the St. Paul campus. We focused on movement, sharing experiences. We shared a meal with a group of intergenerational women of color. So we collected written responses. We did audio taping. There were also group written responses. We took all this data, which was the data were transcribed, and we coded it and we captured themes. We used Qualitrix to confirm themes, findings. Our findings revealed that the informants, the women students of color who participated in the research project, rarely felt that their environment supported their health. They reported actually needing a nurturing space. They wanted increased opportunities for intergenerational contact between faculty and students to share experience and advice. They also reported needing strategies to draw on personal and cultural resources to support the self and community healing. They wanted strategies, they wanted to identify strategies uh, to reduce stress and the toxicity of the spaces that they were inhabiting. And they wanted ways to create and identify healing and non-stressful spaces. So as you can see, spaces and stress were very important findings. So from these findings, we created what we're calling a rejuvenation space, a portable rejuvenation space. It included elements, and you see it on the slide here, um, of nature, ideas of relaxation and retreat, calming. The lights were dim, the colors were neutral, accented with blues, and basically warm colors. It had comfortable seating for meditation and relaxation, and it was movable, which was an important element of it. Uh, and it had a partition around it to provide a sense of security and respite. And yes, this is a picture of the room. Not the room, actually, the space. And it debuted in 2014, 2017, excuse me. It was reconstructed, because remember, it's portable, at different spaces on the different campuses in the academic year of 2017, 2018. Another picture of the rejuvenation room and the faculty who inaugurated when the space, when it debuted in Nolte Hall in 2017. Uh, these are products from our project. You see the rejuvenation room with students inhabiting the room. There was a tote bag with the poem on it that was healing. And we also had workshop books. Uh, Part of this project, uh, part of this project from one of the products was a summit on women healing. And so you see in front of you a group of women from international spaces who came to the University of Minnesota campus. And we had uh, a transnational summit with speakers and activities. We felt that meeting together and breaking bread, as we say, having a meal together was important. And so you see this picture of a meal.
The second project, which we're going to talk about, project two, happened during the pandemic, and it builds on the findings from our previous project. So the research question we focused on for that particular one is, how can a respite space be envisioned for students to distress and reconnect on campus? And then the second question was, what do students need in a stress reduction space to feel rejuvenated and relaxed? We know that COVID, we already experience and know that students experience mental health issues and wellness on campus and feel overwhelmed and have a lot of anxiety prior to COVID. But COVID also escalated these experiences, and stress has been found to be a major factor impacting higher education. COVID-19 increased this as well. And this is a picture of the existing space. We had an existing space on one of our campuses that is a living room in a historic building in Nolte Hall. So we had to create this stress reduction respite space in the existing historic building space. And we could do limited design alteration to the space because it's a historic space and it had a small budget. So there were several constraints because of that. And these are just some images of the existing space. So we collected data from 32 students who used the space, and examples of some of the questions we asked them will be illustrated in the coming slides and would show you, we asked them what they wanted to see in a space that would enhance their health and their well-being. And 32 students completed the survey and we analyzed the data. So this is some of the summary of the data the demographics of the students who responded to our survey. You can see that there were 32 in all, and majors that are represented include design majors, science majors, architecture major, graphic design, and you could see the classification of the students as well. We had first year, second year, third year, senior and graduate students respond to our survey, 32 in total. When we asked what attributes of a space help students feel calm, students told us that they needed the ability to control the lighting level and the color, soothing smells, soft and cozy furniture. They asked for quiet space, views to the outdoor, cool tone colors and warm tone colors, natural colors, and then visual separation and plants. When we asked what helps them relax and distress while in school, they said they wanted a quiet area to themselves, asked for areas with plants, areas with natural lighting and cozy furniture, and places where they can have creative activities and have guided meditation, and a private space with weighted blankets was another thing they asked for. We also asked what types of color palette will make them feel more calm. And you could see some of the examples there. Option 4, the one with the cooler tones, was the one that they selected that had the highest number of responses. But you can also see that option 5, which has some of the warm natural colors too, was also had a lot of responses too. Now, when we asked, when stressed, what tools or activities do they participate in? A lot of the students mentioned mindfulness activities, movement activities. They talked about wanting to have a private space and creative activity. And, this is a word cloud representing, wanted to see nature aspects in it as well. This is a word cloud illustrating some of the responses or keywords that we. When we asked about spaces that make them feel calm in the outdoor. They talked about spaces close to nature. And when we asked about elements that will be calming in space for them, they asked about cozy furniture, control of lighting, visual barriers, plants, privacy, and color. And these were elements that were missing from the existing space that we showed you earlier on. Now, when we asked when students feel the most stressed within the school context, they talked about when they have deadlines was the one that had the highest responses, about 33% of them. 16, about 17% of them said all the time. So that serves to show why we need spaces like this. And then right before due dates of projects or when comparing themselves to others or during midterms and finals came out from the survey a lot. You can see for the most part, students are feeling stressed a lot. Now, some of the key findings from the survey informed our key features that we decided to integrate in the space. So we wanted to create a space for stress reduction and relaxation. We decided that a space where they could have access to nature, be able to exercise, meditate, and maybe mindfulness and listen to music will help reduce stress. So we prioritize this in the design solution, which we're going to show in the next couple of slides. So this is the existing space again. Like we said, it was an historic building, so we couldn't make any physical modifications or structural changes. We had to create a pod that was handicap accessible for the rejuvenation or relaxation space. And you can see that it's kind of like a 9 by 7 feet 9 inches space here, which is highlighted in the floor plan shown in the drawing on the screen. And the next couple of slides will show you some renderings that we came up for the space. Now, we had two options. The first option, you know, as a sliding door, it's handicap accessible. There's a cozy furniture in the space. We'll show you some 3D renderings of it later. We had some plants added, and there's access to view, because remember we said that daylighting and access to nature was important. And then we introduced like pillows and soft ambient lighting in the space. You can see the rendering, some of the renderings, because it's a historic space again, we couldn't bolt partitions or allow the partitions reach the ceiling because we had to have access to the ceiling. There had to be a space between the ceiling and the partitions due to code requirements and in case of a fire. So you can see some renderings in this slide and the next couple of slides coming up as well. Here is a rendering of the option that we shared earlier on with the sliding door. You can see the space. We decided to match the warmth of the space with the partition we used to use a partition that had a resin panel that also mimicked like some natural wood tones. And then in the next slide, you will see how some of the image and the visuals work in the space as well. But the space is in the corner there. And you can see some of the proposed components that were added into the space, ensured that there was privacy, soft dimmable lighting, cozy furniture, and we also made it such that it was easily cleanable because, you know, we're still in a global pandemic, and incorporating the biophilic elements of having the connection to nature and hardy plants were also in the space. And the next couple of slides will show some of the material specifications and the things that were incorporated in the space. You could see some of the resin panels that will be used to create like privacy in the space. They pick up the natural wood tones, and they also have some sound absorption quality so that it would reduce the noise level and people will feel calm in the space. And then when someone is in the space, they could use their phone to obtain a QR code and get some of the, you know, if they wanted to do a virtual walk in the forest, they can use their phone to obtain a QR code and do the virtual walk in the forest. If they wanted forest sounds, they will use their phone to obtain the QR code and get the forest sound. gentle stretching, and guided meditation. So they would use their phones to obtain these QR codes when they're in the space and obtain some of this and feel relaxed while using the space. Here are again some pictures of the cozy furniture and the pillows and the lamps to bring in warm lighting, the task lighting and natural light. And it's dimmable too to allow students feel calm and warm in the space. In conclusion, our goal was to find ways to help support and have students have better mental health and better well-being on campus. Spaces like this are important to reduce the stress students feel when on campus. And we also want to emphasize that the interdisciplinary nature of our research was very, very helpful for us to create this design solutions to help promote and improve student mental health and well-being on our university campus. Lessons from our rejuvenation space that we created in 2017 informed the solutions that we used to create the respite space to reduce stress for students on campus. And we are continuing with these projects across campus. For example, at the Humphrey School, we're creating a wellness and a prayer room there. Thank you.
As a last video presentation, we will have Rachel. She links